Well, happy Thursday.
Listen, at our age, there's nothing happy about it. It's basically we got to Thursday. We're here.
We're here. We made it.
We made it.
So far, we still. I don't know though. We still have 3 hours.
With the baby? With the baby situation? Listen, I don't know where she. First of all, where does she get off? Okay.
Who does she think she is?
In this house, we have different set of rules, and all of a sudden, this girl at 3 months old wants to develop teeth.
They better go back into her gums where they came from.
They need to go right back into the calcium in her bloodstream and just chill right there till I say it's okay.
Like maybe for another 6 months. I'm good with that.
She's already making me old.
Yeah. No, she's good.
She's like, oh, I'm into boys, Dad. Oh no, you're not.
Never. Not till you're 45.
I'll kill them all.
I'll kill them all. Well, I think it's hard because she's so little. She can't even put stuff in her mouth yet. Like, it's one thing when they're like 8, months old. They can soothe. Yeah, they can self-soothe. They can put like a toy in there or whatever. Sure. Like she can't even put anything besides her fingers in her mouth.
That kind of makes sense why I saw her put her fingers in her. I was like, oh,
she is like putting them in her mouth, like, and biting them so much that she's like making herself gag. Oh. And then also the drool. Do you remember the drool? Yeah, it's the teething sign.
Freaking kids, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Maybe they'll just all pop out and then she'll be good.
At 3 months old? No way.
I definitely saw one. I feel like I saw maybe 2. So
who does this? 3 months old. Who has teeth at 3?
Listen.
Months.
Our daughter's a go-getter.
Wow. She's going to the moon for sure.
She's going to walk out like 7 months.
And then she's staying there.
Never coming back. I don't blame her.
Dad, I want you to meet astronaut. Nope. I don't care. I don't care what his name is. I don't care that
he's a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I don't care how impressive his resume is. No, not in my house.
Nope, not there.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, that was a nice little quick lunch date night tonight. Or not date night, but a lunch date.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that a lot.
Did you enjoy the day drinking part of it, or what did you enjoy?
Listen, when you're out having a steak sandwich, a glass of wine just pairs well.
12 o'clock.
It was 1.
Noon.
It was already in the PMs. That's okay.
True. That's true. And who knows where it is 5 o'clock?
Yes, it could be anywhere. That was nice though. I feel like we're gonna have to start doing that more now that both boys are in school. We'll just have to.
Are you asking me to start day drinking?
No, I'm asking you.
I'll do it. I mean, I just wanted to make sure.
I'm asking you to date me during the day, not just the night.
Fine, that's fine. It went from like
taking me out when it's still light outside.
Don't be all such a creep. Wait till the sun goes down.
Yeah, let's wait till the sun goes down.
Hey, the sun's down. You want to go on a date? Wait.
Yeah, take me out. Show me around.
It was interesting. I got done with the shower, all the last of the final footage before submitting to the editor, and you're like, hey, how about we go on a date? And I was like, all right, we can do this. And it was just interesting to go out, like get dolled up a little bit.
Yeah, just during the day.
Have some good food and.
Yeah, we were there with all the senior citizens for sure.
For sure.
Because that was their dinner.
Retirees. Yeah, that was their dinner, wasn't it? They're all just, anything good on TV today? I watched The Golden Girls. Yeah. A new episode. There's no such thing as a new episode with The Golden Girls.
There might be, though, for them.
Nope. Oh, no. For them? No, yeah. I just got back from the war. Unless they have, like, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
It's hard to get back into the working mode after a day.
Yeah.
For you, it's a different story.
I was already done for the day.
All right, here we are.
This is my slower week, which felt really nice after 2 crazy weeks.
Oh no, they're crazy for sure. For me,
today was really nice for me.
For me, it's just a different story because if
you got to get back into it.
Well, I'm only lucky because the video is done today and tomorrow it's being released. So to me, it's like I can get into the like vacation mode kind of thing for like a day or 2. Mm-hmm. So that's totally fine. So we got lucky with that. But if it was like middle of a project, I don't know if I would have taken you on that invite.
Well, that's why I asked you before anything. I said, "Hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
Are you busy? Are you not? What do you
No, you didn't ask me if you were busy. If I was.
No,
busy.
I said.
No, you said, hey, how about a date night tonight?
No. Yeah,
what'd you say?
I said, hey, are you busy or do you want to go out to lunch? And you said, I can do lunch.
Were you really that insightful about asking if I was busy? No, wow, that's so
because
nice
I knew you were doing the shower glass, and I know that
it's been delayed by a week.
And you were stressed out about it. So
yes, I was.
Yes, you were.
Yes, I was. It was nice to finally have the glass in my possession. That was nice. Then I could actually orchestrate when this thing is going to be released. I got to communicate with the brand ahead of time, which this is funny because this is the brand that I'm working with. It's Manscaped. And if anybody knows anything about Manscaped is that, I mean, first of all, they're a great brand, and I've bought their products before they ever were a sponsor. But it's just kind of hilarious because they'll have like products like the lawnmower, which is stuff for your junk basically to trim it up, and then they'll have products called the
weed whacker.
The weed whacker, but the weed whacker is easy. The weed whacker is just like a nose and a hair trimmer.
Yeah.
There's the ball deodorant, which they call the ball preserver, I think. Oh no, the crop preserver. They call it the crop preserver.
The crop preserver.
They call it the crop preserver, which is kind of hilarious, right? How they title these things.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know me.
It's all lawn stuff, which is so funny.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's brilliant on the marketing perspective. You're like, this is, if you're going to call a happy trail, like you might as well, bring the lawnmower. You might as well bring the lawnmower to a happy trail.
Yes.
I think some content creators, they kind of shy away from sponsors like that just because they feel like it's too much for their brand.
Too off brand. Do you like it's too different from what they do?
I don't know if it's off
or
brand.
too like
I think it's TMI.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, but with me, I'm like
nothing's TMI with
nothing's TMI. It's like we'll figure out a way how to present it. I'll make it work. And
I think especially if you're just doing an ad read, it's not like you're having to incorporate Manscaped into one of your projects.
But listen, even Manscaped, like. Okay, here's the thing. If it was like some local strip club company, it's like, hey, can you do an ad read for us? To me, that's a hard no. Like, sorry, dude. Like, there's no way I can make this work.
Right.
I don't consume your product.
But everybody uses a razor.
Sure, but like even like as a guy, you're like, this might be a little TMI thing, but like we can make it a little bit more PG-13.
Yes, you don't have to feature every single
like
product.
When I talked about like, hey, this is the lawnmower 3.0, I said like, I said something about like it has like skin safe technology, and like to explain skin safe technology, I was like, it doesn't nick you where it matters the most. Like,
yeah, it's not like
everybody knows what that means.
Everybody knows.
But at the same time, it's not like that.
You're
out
not
there,
saying the words.
Sure. And, so you're kind of keeping it a little bit more classy, so there's ways of doing it. But like, if like, hey, can you advertise about Spearmint Rhino, the local gentleman's club? I'm like, sorry, dude. Like,
no.
Yeah. What am I going to say? Hey, fellas, are you trying to get a day off from the old ball and chain and trying to see a 21-year-old, make bad decisions? Come on down to the Spearmint Rhino where,
now that's just a commercial.
Yeah, where $20 gets you.
It's not even ad read anymore. It's just a commercial.
It's just no. I won't do that. I'll do like all right. That's TMI. Hey, like for example, in that ad read that I was doing, they were talking about like the boxer briefs that were like the marketing spiel behind it was like anti-chafing. I'm like Manscaped boxer briefs. They're anti-chafing, and I was like, fellas, you know who you are. I've been camping with you, like, and like, so it's a reality thing. It's a product that people would actually like that I hang out with would consume, or myself as well. And it's like you kind of go, hey, let's just make fun of it,
right? And then it becomes less awkward, and people are not like, oh,
can't do an advertisement for like Percocets. Hey, are you trying to forget and escape reality? Percocets.
Let me show you
Percocets.
This product.
Yeah, that might be for you. So
I've been using it long before they became a brand.
Have I been overdosing on Percocets right before bed? Yeah, sure, I have.
Sure, but
yeah, if a reality is just a suggestion to you, then Percocets might be right up your alley. Listen, I'm just good at these ad reads.
You are. I mean, people are gonna come to you from all over the board, all over.
Start paying the bills.
Yeah, but the shower's looking good. Or I mean, the bath.
It's still
shower bath.
Sure.
Yeah, the glass that finally came in.
Apparently, really it's categorized under the shower bathtub combo. That's how the old stores advertise it on. No, thanks. It's a little bit of a different project just because most people are like, why don't you just do a full shower pan? And I was like, well, I've done that. I'm curious to try to do like, I wanted to almost do like a fancy bathtub scenario without having too fancy. Like, I think one of these days I will want to do a project where it's one of those standalone bathtubs where it's like this kind of like, not a Victorian style, but
clawfoot like kind of.
What are they called?
The clawfoot.
Clawfoot. Is that just like an independent standing?
Yeah. Well, the clawfoot ones are the more of the vintagey kind, but they have the more modern where it's just Are
they from the White Claw family?
Yes. Clawfoot. White Claw. Yes, they are. You drink White Claws in the clawfoot. Interesting. Yeah.
No law when there's the White Claw. Oh, interesting.
Yes. Well, that will be a project. I mean, they look amazing. These
Are you
tubs.
volunteering me for a project right now?
Yeah.
Would you like to try?
Kyle,
would you
make sure you keep this one in?
Yeah, make this a quick little soundbite.
Yeah.
I need more projects.
You said it first. You said one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to.
Hold on a second. Can we just say you're one? Okay, I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm not. But can you name off the top of your hands, off the top of your mind, on counting on one hand, any girlfriends that you have that they have, not to say I'm a magic genie, but just say like, that they could rub a lamp and say like, I wish for my bathroom to be remodeled.
0.
Now, if you need something to rub, I got something for you to rub, but like,
listen, the magic lamp has already been taken care of.
Fellas, by the way, embrace lunch date nights
to the fullest.
And here's capacity. my advertisement read for you is your lamp will get rubbed.
Listen, you won't need 3 wishes.
When the clock strikes 12.
We're bringing all sorts of Disney movies.
One
stories.
time. Da 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 da. Good. No, but no. I mean, there's not a lot of people. Like, do you know anybody in your line of work, like, not line of work, but like your just path where you're like, oh, hey, babe, can you remodel the bathroom?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
No.
Or can we make this look more grand or more pharmacy? Like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just thinking about it, like, to myself, I was like, that's kind of nice.
Yes.
That's kind of nice.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's the equivalency for a guy. Like, if a guy was...
Okay, listen, I know how good I have it.
Listen, okay, so this is how I'll put it in this kind of perspective. Because guys and girls are created very differently, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Our love language and, it's received and portrayed very differently. I would say, and again, not to toot my own horn...
You've said that way too many times. It's almost like you are tooting your own horn.
I just want you to toot my horn.
No, you want to toot my horn.
I think to a gal, to be married to a guy who she just like suggests things to remodel, and that could be worked out through brands and sponsorship and whatnot, is like to a guy that is like married to a stripper. You know, it's like, what are your wildest fantasies?
Oh, like when a girl gets a guy who can remodel. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're married to a
stripper.
Sure.
In the build it world.
If you're horny, let's do it. Ride my pony. You don't know that song, do you?
Man, I'm just.
Oh wow. Genuine pony.
Oh yes.
Oh wow.
Sure.
Oh, interesting.
Sure.
Okay. Well, that was just me just being weird on microphone right there.
Wow. Way to make yourself look real weird.
Well, you know.
On our podcast.
Yeah.
No, I do know. I mean, I know how good I have it because none of my friends can say that too. Mm-hmm. They have to hire somebody or find somebody. So
I got to step it down a notch. Yeah.
But would you say have suggested that many to you, or is it more like you needing a project and then ask like us figuring it out together? Do you feel like I've suggested that many to you? Like, you should do this.
It's a little different right now because right now I'm in the final stages of this house. Like I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of slowly, not too fast, so don't be DMing me about it, you know.
I will tomorrow.
Hey guys, I have this thing. Like if I'm local, you know, you guys need a project, you can remodel this. No, I'm slowly getting my year's booked till the end of the year, but I'm slowly getting like, okay, so what are the next couple of big projects we can do in 2021?
But I feel like it's, especially in the last like maybe half a year, it's mostly you coming to me going, hey, I'm going to remodel this. What do you think? And then I kind of give you some of my ideas. But I feel like when we first moved into this house, it was all of my ideas.
No, you can't go to there. No, you can't go there because
I already did. It's been
oh wow
there.
In the very beginning stages, and we both agree, you were more indecisive than you are now.
True.
And so the whole coming to you part and asking you about that, it was more along the lines of like trying to get you to a place of like decision making. But what kind of gave birth after that, or the afterbirth, if you ask, if you will,
the afterbirth
of that was more of like this, I don't know, like a creative approach where, like, to me, obviously this is our house, so if you're in love with it and that's your profession, you know, in terms of design, then fantastic. That's like, we just made your dream come true kind of thing. But before that, before you got into design, it was more of like, what can we make do, you know, like off the whim. But I guess to summarize, it kind of just evolved into what it is.
You with your projects?
Yeah, well, it kind of evolved. Like, it started with projects were too expensive to get into, right? That's before the sponsorships were there. And so if I was gonna do it, then obviously I'm taking a loss financially. But then the brands came along, and the budget was there, and then from that point on, it was me practicing a little bit of my creativity, and then inviting you into it was like a way of me kind of like joining forces with you on creativity, while at the same time making your dreams come true. That's
Thank you for making my dreams come
true.
No,
but I mean, like, I mean, not to say it's like a Make-A-Wish thing, but it was just more of like, okay, this is, you know, yours and my house. What does it look like for you to have that dream house scenario? And I guess that's what I mean by like the dreams come true is like, okay, so, you know, did you ever want a big shower? Did you ever want, you know, the like a floating vanity? You know what I mean? Like, and after a while, where you kind of maybe you started trusting me more. I don't know. Maybe it was like you going like, okay, so this idiot knows what he's doing, and then you kind of picked up on it. Well, don't say after I say idiot.
Oh no, I meant I trusted you more.
No, you're supposed to be like, no,
you're not an idiot. You're so smart.
You know, like that just kind of it was a basically.
It is. I agree. I think in the beginning, when we first moved, it was like I felt like we needed to tackle all these projects because our house seemed so dated.
Yeah,
and
it was a mess.
It was a mess. Yeah. So I'm like, we need to do these and these things
to make it habitable.
Yes. Well, to make it feel like home for us and cozy. And then once we got those big things done, like going room by room was kind of how it happened organically. And then obviously having brands come in and sponsor stuff, because then you're like, I can redo the master bathroom now. I can redo this.
Yeah.
I think that's when you started kind of like just taking it by yourself and then just telling me, hey, I'm going to redo this room. And I'm going to be like, oh, you are?
That was like a growing, I don't want to say growing pain, because I don't think there's any pain. I think it was more of like is there another catchphrase you can say about that? Like it was just like an evolution of that that part where it almost felt like after a few projects you started trusting me with input. Like you started trusting me with like
colors,
design, and the overall aesthetic, and
I did.
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah. And so I think that was the big part that kind of made me, I feel like on my end, to evolve, to be like, okay, so if I was to gut, like for prime example, this downstairs bathroom, like I don't think we really sat down and had a conversation about like whether it was me moving the toilet to the other side of the wall, whether it was a floating vanity, whether it's to gutting anything or the shower. It was more of like me coming down to you and be like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about gutting this, making a floating vanity, and then doing the shower and moving the toilet here. Like I think that's the extent of the conversation. And you're like, sometimes you would, I don't know if that was the case, but like sometimes they, like the furthest you'll go will be like, wait, what do you want to do? And I'll be like, well, what I want to do is move this here. Like you're like, I have a hard time picturing that. And then I'll draw it up for you. I'll tape it on the ground and be like, okay, so the toilet would be right here.
Right.
And I'll just point to it. I'll be like, this is where you pee.
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, right here. This is the splash. Yeah, this is where you pee. And then I'll put a little dog bone right there. Like, this is like a doggy treat. Like, this is where you go pee.
Yes. Here you go.
Yeah.
Come back here.
And then I'll rub the back of your ear and be like, good girl. No, I'm kidding. No, but like that would be the extent of it, like of like our brainstorming. And I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing something really unique with the backsplash. I want to do maybe a floating vanity. I don't know how far out. And we definitely didn't have a conversation about colors. Like you never went like, what color is the vanity going to be? What color is the backsplash is going to be?
Well, we did.
The backsplash, because
first
I gave you an inspiration of like this pink tile,
which is, I think, going to be a trend.
We missed out.
Yeah, what? I've been seeing it. Well, we're not going to be
in this house for long, so who cares about?
Yeah, and that's why I was like, whatever, because it's first of all really expensive. So if we're going to do that tile, might as well do it in house we're going to stay in, which is a good segue into. We are
getting a divorce. Wait, no? Yeah. Kidding. I'm kidding.
Do not ever say the D word.
I know. I'm sorry. It was a bad joke. It was a
bad joke.
Bad joke.
Well, like you said, we're kind of wrapping up all of our projects in this house, and we don't have any more, but we need more, right?
Oh, here's the other thing that you need to stop doing.
You need more projects, Mr. Build It.
No, it's I feel like the way you talk to your girlfriends about Alex needs more projects. I think sometimes you gals, when you guys talk, there's this like trade-off of what you mean and what actually is being heard by the recipient.
Well, which is
it's the recipient's fault.
No, yeah, exactly. And it's every conversation is like that, right?
Sure. Everybody, but the amount of text messages and DMs that I'll get from people going, hey, I heard Irene was talking to my wife and she said you need more projects. Hey, and so they'll be like, if you ever need anything, let me know. I have a house. Or like sometimes they'll get really creative. They'll be like, hey, my buddy got a thing that he's trying to do a tiny house build and you'd be the right guy for the job. And I'm like, hold on a second. Are you basically telling me, hey, lucky you get to work for free.
Guess what?
And transform this person's space.
Yeah.
How lucky are your stars?
I got the best thing for you.
And then I have to be kind of like a jerk, like kind of writing back, be like, hey man, like, thanks, but I'm not trying to work for anybody right now. I just need projects. That's it for myself. Yeah. Like I'll do projects if it's like a really good cause. Like if it's like for a veteran who's being deployed and like I would love to do a thing where like I transform their bathroom or their kitchen or whatever. That is like I'm all in for that. But like for somebody just to be like, hey man, heard you need projects, I guess you can remodel my bathroom. What?
It's there for you.
Excuse me? It's funny. Like it's more insulting.
Yeah.
So
I think people don't realize like that
it's pretty easy to find people to whose bathroom to remodel.
Yeah. And also that when we say you need a project, it means like we need a new house. Not somebody else's. And I mean, it's funny because I tell people like Alex doesn't work. He doesn't take any clients. He doesn't, do other people's houses.
Do you make that disclaimer?
I do.
Okay. Trust you. I trust you.
But people, I think, still, when I tell them, like, oh, yeah, like, he's running. I think this is the thing when I say he's running out of projects in our house. This, like, light bulb goes on.
Okay, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Is this how the conversation goes? You're like, Alex doesn't do work for hire. He doesn't take on any commission work. And somebody one of the gals takes a sip of her glass of wine, like, oh my gosh, he should totally remodel my house. and you kind of laugh and be like, oh yeah, he totally should. Totally. And then she's like,
wait, seriously?
Okay.
Texting her husband already.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle, you should reach out to Irina and tell her, because they were looking for a house to remodel. Is that how the conversation goes?
I mean,
because the amount of DMs, like, I remember, like, what is it? 2 weeks ago, I came back from hunting, or 3 weeks ago, I came back from hunting. And as soon as I got service, like, this just like long paragraph, like, hey man, we met through so and so and so and so, and hey, my wife so and so told me that your wife told her that you're looking for projects. I have a friend who's looking for this thing, and I'm like, what? No, no. Are you saying, like, I should be lucky to do this? Yes. Like, is
boy, you've really stumbled upon this. I'm graciously allowing you.
Thank you so much
to redo my shower.
Thank you so much. I won't let you down.
That's funny. I don't know. I think people who already are looking for that, it's like a light bulb for them for sure.
I will say this: you brought me the most amount of business that won't pay me anything.
I brought you the most amount of almost business.
You brought me the right amount of business to go bankrupt.
That's so funny. I can't believe that.
I should do that with you. I should be like, hey babe, this is Kyle and Jennifer. They're looking to stage or style their house, interior design their house. Take it away.
Yeah, here you go.
And then they'll reach out to you and be like, hey, I heard you do interior design. My friend owns this beautiful mansion. He's looking for that work to be done.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, hey, I charge so and so. And he's like, oh no. I thought this is like a
pro bono
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I should get you in a few like these awkward conversations. That'd be nice.
I've had them.
You had them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I haven't directed them.
To me.
Yeah. If you think you've been lowballed, wait till the clients that I send you.
Listen, she charges nothing.
Sometimes she'll even give you money and a shout out. And a shout out on her social media.
She's looking for business. She needs it.
So they say practice makes perfect.
Oh my gosh. Listen, she's building her portfolio. She needs the work.
Yeah. This is like, imagine like this is Ellen getting started in her profession, right? And she needs to start practicing giving away free stuff. So you mentioned about, this is a perfect segue. What's a perfect segue for?
Well, we're wrapping up here in this house, which is kind of funny because I remember when we were looking for a house 3 years ago. Has it been 3?
In my mind, it's been like 9. For you, it's been 3.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not good with time.
Yeah. Beckham was barely just 2. So
and he's what, 16 now?
Yes. Yeah, basically. Emotional 16-year-old.
The boys are reading.
So cute.
Ish.
I like pencils. Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
But I remember when we had bought this house, you were like, hey, we need like a 10-year home. Right?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. And then we moved in, and I don't know, 3 years into it, we're like, we need a bigger house.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously running out of projects. And then we realized how crammed we feel in just the city. Because we're kind of like the suburbs, but we're off like a really main road here in Boise. And so it just feels so crammed. And our neighborhood is like, it's like the typical suburban subdivision.
We're lucky. It's a cul-de-sac and stuff like that.
We're in a cul-de-sac, which is awesome. Yeah. But
is it cul-de-sac or cul-de-sac?
Cul-de-sac?
I don't know. I feel like we're cool.
Like Edward Cullen.
Yeah. Cullen?
Cullen.
Like colonoscopy?
Cull.
Oh, interesting.
C-U-L. Cul-de-sac.
Cull. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I have loved that, and I feel like I've loved, like, we've really grown to love this house, especially because we made it our own, and you know, some of the neighbors have been awesome. And Jack has, you know, really like developed a friendship with our neighbors, but then we're like, we just need more space. We feel, what do you always say? We need some wiggle room.
Yeah.
We need some room, elbow room, yeah. Because especially with now that, you know, you got a dirt bike, the boys have their little toys, quad and dirt bike. We realized we just need some more space and some more land.
Yeah, it's interesting about this house because it's kind of like my last truck. So my last truck was a big truck. It was a Tundra, but it's like a Tundra with a small engine on it, which means you can't really tow anything. And when I got it, all I was like saying is, I just need a truck that's a truck that I can haul plywood with and lumber and move a couch in. And should be good on gas economy. And then life changed. Like all of a sudden we got a camper, and then we got a cargo trailer for your business and stuff like that. And so now towing was a big important factor. Now the other one was just garbage. It could pull, but like you could barely get up hills. You're using a crap ton of gas or fuel. And so we needed a diesel, and that's where the upgrade came from. I think the same situation happened with this house. It was pre-YouTube for me. Like, I think I just got into YouTube. And so the idea of needing a bunch of projects was non-existent, because when we got into this house, I was still just doing blogging, and I was doing really irrelevant projects where
You're
it was
doing
just
like furniture.
It was furniture, dining room tables, coffee tables, weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Smaller
going anywhere.
projects.
YouTube channel didn't take off. So I didn't know what worked, what didn't. And I realized that what really kind of became part of my branding was remodels. And so that's where the big transition happened. And so all of a sudden you're like, okay, so cool. We'll remodel this. We'll remodel that. And you also start realizing by the time you got the camper trailer and the cargo trailer, and you're paying for them to be stored somewhere else. And now the boys are in the place of like dirt biking and stuff like that, and you really want to be part of it, and you got trailers for that, and okay, so well, if you want to go regularly, you want to keep it at your house, and blah 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 blah. Like all of a sudden, you have no wiggle room anymore. Like it starts bothering.
Not to mention how tiny your shop space is.
Oh, it's a third bay. It's a third bay, and it's. Most people will be very lucky to have a third bay shop to build out of, which is, to me, it's a 12 feet by 17 feet. Because some people, they just have to put everything away and then build on a Saturday, and then put everything away so their wife can park their car. But when I make my living from that space, that 12 by 17 becomes it becomes very little, right? Like if you're like, this
Especially when you have so many huge tools.
Sure. Yeah. Like if you think about like the investment you'll make for a school career kind of situation where you're like, okay, I'll get a loan between $100,000 and $250,000, depending where you go. Like, well, then how is it different for you to make a living off of this career kind of thing if you're scaling as your own business? And so like that's important. Like, you know, space and wiggle room. It's important for both, you know, mind clarity and creativity and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and then on top of that, with my business, I would love to have some kind of warehouse not shop, but like storage space where I can store.
Is this what you want to get into? You want to talk about our future, future home kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we haven't really shared it with anybody that we're planning on moving.
Good. Yeah, I like it.
In the spring.
We spoke about this like off camera of like what would we potentially like.
It's between us, but I mean like we haven't shared it with.
Yeah. So we're kind of around like next spring in the market of like putting this house for sale, because like I've got the projects that I could squeeze out of this house done, but more than those projects, it's more of like I especially what's going on like culturally right now. I kind of want to. I'm at the point where like I get bothered when people leave their cars parked in front of my house. Like I want to not be bothered by those silly things of like being like stacked upon one another in a subdivision kind of thing.
Right.
I want more wiggle room. I want to just breathe. And every time we go to your parents' property at the cabin, and they have like 3 acres of land there, and they have this like really long driveway down the hill. Once you get onto the property, you almost forget, even though 3 acres is not that, it's big, but it's not that big. You almost forget like there's people around you, even though you could see their houses. You forget it, and so things that are very small and petty, they don't bother you anymore that they would probably.
And it feels like there's a certain level of like quiet and like peacefulness, I guess.
Well, you're probably thinking about living in a forest.
No.
Because at the cabin, I mean, surrounded by trees, you get that level of peacefulness.
But even on a couple acres, there's this, obviously it's not like dead quiet, but there's this sense of just not as much commotion going on. Like you said, like people aren't parking their cars in front of your house. There's not loud trucks coming in and out of the cul-de-sac, and so it's, I don't know. I'm excited to live that more, what is it? Farm life.
Farm life.
Not that we're gonna have a farm. We won't.
No, I think I know what you're saying. I think what you're saying is something along the lines of like, when it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So like if you're in the backyard and you're already past the 3/4 of an acre, and now you're looking at the next two acres of land, you're not bothered by something outside of it. You're like, there's like like it's kind of out of mind, out of sight kind of thing. I know what you mean about that. What's some of your I don't know, like daydreaming part about the next house?
Well, I'm excited obviously for our next season of life. This house has been good to us. It's probably the longest we've lived in a house, which is crazy.
This is the house that made you famous too.
Famous.
No, it did. Like, this is the house that kind of kicked off your interior design.
Well, both of us. This is the house.
Oh no, 100%. 100%. This is the house that made me.
So it kind of has these like sentimental memories. 100%. This is the house. Harper, came home too, but I just thought of the fact that this is the longest in our 8 years of marriage. This is the longest we've lived in a house. So we lived in Seattle for a little bit. We lived in our first house for maybe 2, maybe even less. Because we had to move out for a little bit.
Sure.
And then, which that'll be a story to tell. The fire. The fire. Yeah. We'll title one of these podcasts "The Fire."
Oh wow. That'll leave people in suspense.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Don't leave it there. Yeah. And
I know.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Dun dun dun.
And then our first house that we
should
purchased.
Make it as a psycho thriller murder mystery, like the way we tell a story.
My favorite. And then the very first house we bought was 2 years. So this is 3 going on 4. So we'll be here 4 years before we sell.
Yeah. So what's some of the things that you're like, because it's interesting to hear from what some of the things you want in the next house, because some of the things
have been weird things, but that's only because we've gone through a couple houses, so now I know like what I really value in a house.
We tackled some things, right? So like you've always wanted an open kitchen, like a float. So we did this in this house,
which now I realize you can make an open concept great room, open kitchen,
blow up the house, build a new house.
So one of the, I don't know, I guess it's like what do we call them? Deal breakers?
Yeah,
maybe.
Could be. Yeah, sure.
But I would really love, even though we want like 2-3-ish acres, I still want to live in like a neighborhood. I don't want to live just like off the road. I still want to be in like some sort of community where we can still have neighbors, not, a doorstep away, but like still have neighbors where our kids can play with them, and just not be like isolated by ourselves.
Sure. That is actually in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's easier to find, but like in my mind, that's a little bit more difficult to be like, when you're on I want a house that is both a 2-story house, but also levitating off the ground.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because before I really like kind of expanded my skill set in like building, when you were like, hey, this is a peninsula, can you make it an island? That was difficult at that time, and then I learned, right?
Yes,
so that is like the new thing that I'm like,
how
it is,
but it can be done. We have some friends who live in the exact.
Sure. But what I'm saying is finding, because like, so that's your first thing that you.
That's
want,
not
right?
the first thing. That's just one of them. So.
Right.
I just feel like I still want that community and not to be like all alone, because also I don't know why, like if you are gone or like not home, or I don't know why I feel like I'd be a little bit more afraid.
What's the line from Dwight Schrute from the Office where he goes, "If I'm gone, you've been dead for a long time."
If I'm dead, you've been dead for weeks. Oh, Dwight.
No, and I get it. I get where you're coming from. I just feel like I used to think that going into this house, it was difficult, a negotiation with you of like, because this house, and let's be honest about it, like you shed a few tears about this house, correct? Mm-hmm. Like I remember, I'll
admit to it.
And it's good. We saw this house. It was poorly marketed, and it was a poor setup as well, and we kind of brushed over it, and then
terrible realtor.
Well, both realtor
sellers,
and the interior of it, like we had drapes, on the walls that didn't have anything on them.
Also, very low inventory at that time.
That was a big one, right? Because it was fall, right? It was fall.
It was early spring. It was like February.
It was spring, really?
March.
Okay, so it was just like
it was like before that wave, like late spring where it like gets really busy. It was.
That's right. It
was like right after. It was still cold.
The flowers are in blooming. All the plants, and so like there's not much inventory. So we saw it, and it kind of skimmed over my head, and same thing with you, and I had to kind of double back because there's nothing to choose from.
There was nothing. We had like 4 choices. That was it.
And I was almost trying to convince myself of this house. So I was like, oh, let's see what this is. And so I started looking at it from the perspective of like bone structure, and that's where we kind of ended up with this house. And going into it, like we've had these discussions where you're like, oh, you've kind of expanded your horizon of like I could see the potential of like homes, but you would imagine it would make the next house easier to pick from, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say my like deal breakers have gotten smaller. They've probably gotten bigger.
Right.
So like with this house, I had like 3 only. It was like I wanted a fireplace. I wanted a master bathtub. Yeah. In the master bathroom, and there was one more, and I can't remember.
Fireplace.
I already said it.
Fireplace, open kitchen.
Yeah, probably open kitchen. I wanted like an island, and those are like my 3. But now it's like, even though I'm more open-minded about like, oh, we could redo this easy, but I also know
we could. We could. Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
But I also know, like, because I'm more decisive. Like back then I was indecisive. So like for me back then I just couldn't picture what it could look like. But now that I know what it could look like, it's more of the like structural things that I'm like, I want right now. And another one of my deal breakers, I want a freaking giant laundry.
Why?
Our laundry is tiny. I can't keep anything in there. Are you getting a
sister wife? Is this why we're getting a giant laundry?
No, with like 3 kids now. Like we have so much laundry. I can't even keep like your geese in there, like anything, because
my geese.
Your geese. Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I got it. We got to talk.
Nothing, because even though we have like 2 cabinets, they're so high
3
up.
Baskets in there.
Yeah. Well, I keep like the laundry stuff in there, but I can't reach up high, so I can't really keep stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry for building you cabinets.
You should build me a step stool, Mr. Build It.
No, I mean it is a small space for laundry. It has a countertop on top.
I just want like a laundry where I can walk into it and it has like full laundry folding space, a sink, cabinet space, also a window with a cherry tree just like peeking out.
You're like, listen, I would fold this laundry, but only I had a cherry tree to look at.
Listen, no, those are my parameters. I get it.
To me, I think the list is easier to approach. Here's what's interesting. So we've already kind of played a little practice run. We inquired a realtor to send us some stuff, some of the things in our area that we're kind of looking at, and we've got maybe 5 or 6 little leads that were sent our way to look at some of the houses. And the conversations you and I had, they're not motivating to me, and because the reason why is like I would imagine. Disagree. Well, I would imagine, like you see that from before we got this house, you're like, oh, I bet you Alex can figure out how to make this space look bigger. But then you would look at these opposite things. Like you'd be like, I don't like that entrance. Yeah. Or the rooms are in the basement. And I'm like
the stuff you can't fix.
And you're that's what I'm saying. And like, most of the houses that are on 3 acres of land
are like that. I know.
They're not houses that were built in the 2000s where they're just like built upright. There's some kind of basement.
Which is fine to me. I just don't want all of the rooms in the basement. Well, I want
if they're on a hill, if they're on a hill, like they are.
I know.
So it's not like the easiest thing for me because I feel like now the things that are non-negotiables are just different things for you now.
They are, and it's gonna be hard because I'm gonna have to compromise, and I know that. Yeah. I'm just waiting for that like one
sign from
perfect God. House, that like pops up and is like in our price range, and we're like, oh yes.
No, you know the perfect house.
It's not gonna happen.
I already know the perfect house. The perfect because with me, because I'll be honest, it's not like the houses are too far off from each other's price point, but like with you, the perfect house I feel like is the one that has a little. Well, no, not that. I think it has that too much of like the little house on the prairie kind of feel, and it's grand. Mm-hmm. Like I've noticed, like there's like a few houses that I saw that were sent to us, and you're looking at it, and like there's this like wraparound porch, and you're picturing those kind of things. You see, you're looking at things as they are now. You're not looking at things of like what they could be.
We could make,
And so I think that's what you're judging off. So like one of the houses we saw. The only thing I looked at it as like what it is now is the shop space. Mm-hmm. So the house was single level from the front, but from the backside, it was a 2-story, which obviously the majority of the rooms were downstairs in the basement, including like a game room or movie theater room, whatever it is. It's an older home with a huge wraparound a deck that kind of like watches the sunset over like a farm field. But that was not an impressive house at all, but apart from like the view that you would get from it. But like what was impressive was the shop, like a really newer-ish shop that looked as big, like maybe like 1,500 square foot shop or 2,000 square foot shop that was built to the side of it that could store all the trailers, could be more than comfortable for my shop space, could create storage for your stuff. And that's what I looked for, because like that stuff would be touched. Like it's not like I'm going to remodel or rebuild or extend on the shop. Like the shop is just there. Like the shop is like a factory for me to be able to create more stuff in our house. And so that was a thing that I fell in love with. Like I could tear down a third of this house and build out. But I can't, but I would love to have, because the majority of these houses are older. And so the garage is going to be a lot smaller. They're not going to be 3rd-car garage.
But couldn't you just build a shop?
Yeah, but building a shop, you might as well build a house. You're looking at least $60,000.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times when you look at these houses, you're right. Like a lot of it is like the basement rooms. Mm-hmm. They have more of that like 90s feel where it's like you walk into the entry and the stairs go straight down.
And you can smell blood of the people who are murdered there right away.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, great. Another person got murdered in this hellhole.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Is this what happened in here?
Yeah.
But I am looking at that because that's something you can't like change where the stairs go. I just hate that people do that. Why do the stairs have to be in the very entrance of the house? It boggles my mind.
Yeah, but even modern day builds are like that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why?
Wow, you hate houses.
Yeah. I guess we're moving to 1-story because...
So your issue is the location of the stairs?
Sometimes. If they're like...
What are you going to do? Put them in the kitchen?
No, like a lot of newer houses now, like you walk into the entry, there's a hallway and then stairs.
Sure.
It's not like right as you walk in.
Usually it's a hallway, mudroom, and then stairs.
Yes, yeah. But like you walk in and it's like right in your face.
Wow, you feel like you're like assaulted
like
with
I'm being
stairs?
Attacked by
with
the
stairs.
stairs.
Wow.
Like ours are literally 2 feet from the door.
Yeah, but we got freaking.
But now they're awesome.
Yeah, hey, guess what, sister?
Yeah.
Those stairs.
But what are you gonna do when they're going down?
Those stairs video went viral and it brought us a lot of money. So you better love those stairs.
I love the stairs. I do. It went from an eyesore to like a piece of art.
To Mr. Bill is going full time YouTube. Okay, so you better appreciate those stairs.
It's a piece of art now.
Yeah.
But what about when they go down? You can't create that same look. Like when you walk into a house and the stairs go down.
I don't know. I'm sure we can figure it out, but I don't really I'm not married to the idea of like which direction the stairs go.
To me, it's more like to you, you're visualizing like the potential of the things you can do, right? And to me, I'm visualizing the things like we can't fix or do, and so I think I get
like
really
you can't.
stuck.
Oh, what you can't do? No.
No, I mean,
I'm not
like,
teasing you. No, sorry, I'm not teasing like what you can't do. But like, you're thinking of like what cannot be accomplished.
Yes,
basically.
like I'm more like, okay, because it's easier for me to be like, what can we like definitely not do? Mm-hmm. So anything that's like mostly like structural, you don't want to mess with.
But you don't know structure yet.
I don't.
But the reason because I don't even
or
know
like
structure.
Moving
until
a door or
comes
things
in.
like that.
Well,
yeah, is that still structural?
Well,
yeah.
Doors, yes and no, it could be, but for the most part, like doors could be moved and windows could be put in to a certain extent. But like even with me, it's still a blank slate from the perspective until a structural engineer comes in and says, True. That's load bearing, that's not.
Yeah.
Like it's
that would be something that we'd have to do before we moved in. Then.
Okay, so this house that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It was small from the like curb, like the curbside view, mm-hmm. right? The curb appeal. It's a small house. On the other side of the house, because it's on a hill, like it looks ginormous. Like mm-hmm. how like the wraparound mm-hmm. the deck is like the length of the entire house. The master bedroom is on the upper the floor. Majority of it is glass. If the house has good structure, bones, just like this house has good structure, bones. And I have a good workspace, like a shop that I can be comfortable building out of, then I'm far more open to tear down a third of the house to build onto it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Than I am to come into a situation where it's a 1-car garage. I have no shop. I have to work out of my driveway kind of thing. Like that is far more of like, I don't want to do that. You know? So to me, a good shop is far more important, or I mean, unless we have the budget to be like, hey, listen, we sold the house for this, we bought this house for that. You have $60,000 to go build yourself a 2,000 square foot garage shop. Like that's a different story. But mm-hmm. without that, it's I need the factory basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To build it.
Well, and it's like, so we're talking this and we have people listening to this, and I've mentioned this on my YouTube channel a lot, and I feel like it needs to be said more and more. There's what really makes our relationship work is like, I think a while in advance, like very early in this relationship, you realize when I got onto this like train of like building, you believed in me the fact that as long as I had the right tools, I could make cool things mm-hmm. happen for you and me and us and all that stuff. And so for you, it was almost like an investment. For me, it's like a thing that I wanted, right? I wanted tools. So for me, it was a toy that I wanted. And for you, you're kind of like looking at it like from a perspective of wisdom. You're like, if he gets that, we'll both be winning. He's gonna build me
shelves.
Right, but you weren't like selfish. You looked at it from the perspective of like making me happier. Yeah. Like, oh, he wants that. It means that much to him. We'll make it work that he gets that. Like so, and we've had conversations where like, we had an extra check that came in the very early stages, and you're like, why don't you go buy the bandsaw? And, so like that was really cool. And so I think a lot of these gals and guys and gals need to hear this is like, if you want your husband to build you or tear down walls or make a kitchen of your dreams or whatever, like, yes, money is an issue. But like, if you're married to a guy who believes himself in himself and his ability to learn, mm-hmm. And has the willingness, meaning he's not just like a lazy bum, the best thing you can do is invest into his tools, where like you surprise him with, that whatever tool you say, hey, we have the budget, you should buy this thing, because it's not like that thing's going to sit around collecting dust. he's just going to feel like I have this factory now. Like I feel like a cabinet shop. Do you want nice nightstands? Oh, I could totally build us those. Which ones do you like? Oh, you like those?
I can do that.
I can totally build those.
I have the tool now.
But there's nothing worse than like having a guy with like 2 saws and a screwdriver, and the wife going like, "Hey, can you build these?" And the guy's like, I think the guy's almost prompted to be lazy and watch football, where he's like, "No, I can't build that. Like, what do we?
I don't have any of that stuff.
It's like primitive workwear." So, but that's also you also gotta understand, like, there's also guys who are just like straight up lazy, like, and I have those kind of buddies who are just like straight up, they don't want to do stuff, and I get it. Like, people are wired differently. I'm not gonna hold that against the guy, but like the same way, I don't have the gene in my brain to like follow sports and like religiously. Some guys don't have that gene where they can build stuff like that, and that's fine. But if your guy is showing interest in things and tools, invest in that, because he'll build you stuff.
Yeah, which I think transfers or translates to like anything anybody does, right? Like if you have somebody, you have a spouse that has a hobby that's like, I don't know, watercolor art, you know, like, and they really are passionate about it. I think it's important to communicate and say like, okay, if you really like this, like, how
do you monetize it then?
Art?
Right. No. But I mean, like, is that what you're kind of going with?
Yeah.
Like,
or like not even, like if somebody's really passionate about it, the I feel like I'm trying to think of the word, support, like a hobby that somebody's really passionate in.
Yeah.
Like, prime example, decorating and design was just a hobby for me, but you like did the same thing. You supported me. You're like, you should do this and this. Hey, like, why not start staging? Why not do this? And you kind of encouraged me in that. And that's what was like, I think, what helped me step out and actually pursue it.
Yeah, I think it's important to see people's not only interests, but also like where their gifting is and kind of like leaning towards, and looking at it as an investment. Because like, it's not like when I looked at you and I was like, oh, she has a great artistic design and interior design kind of bone in her body. How can I profit financially from it? It was just more of like, no, I want to help her expand on that and help her have her dreams, pursue her dreams. And then in reality, like, when somebody is so passionate about it, like, the money comes later. Like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, cool, like, all this money's coming in, like, like, and you've supported us, like, when business was slow for me. And so it's like, it just comes with it. And so I think the same thing happens with guys as well.
Like, you have to cultivate that.
You have to cultivate it, like,
and encourage that in somebody. I think that's super important.
Could you imagine if the tools that were given to you is like, hey, here's 2 nightstands, a dining room table, and a coffee table, and a bed, go be an interior design. You're like, I don't have the right tools. I don't have but then, like, same thing with like a guy in furniture making. It's like, hey, here's a circular saw and a screwdriver, go build me a nice dining room table. And you're like, I can't do this is primitive work right now. So it might stem from that. For me, one thing I want to share is like, yes, the shop space and all that stuff, but like a house for me is far more of a blank slate. Like, to me, as long as we're not dealing with mold issues, as long as we're not dealing with just like an awkward 100-year-old house where it's just like a squared brick and like where I have to add on these weird structures.
You feel like you're comfortable?
Kind of. Like, for me, like, as long as it's a large structure, period, I could figure things out. I can meet with a structural engineer and I could move things around and see what would like, somebody told me like a structural engineer.
What about like ceiling height?
$1,000. Ceiling height is a different story. Like,
that's another big one. That's
a structural thing. Like, if you have prime example. So we are on our 2nd floor right now. If you're like, hey, these are nice 8-foot tall ceilings. It'd be nice to have like 10-foot tall ceilings. Well, there's nothing you can do apart from cutting the roof off and living in a hotel for a while for them to change the structure, which is going to cost us like half of what a house would.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a different story if you come in with a structural engineer and he goes, hey, turns out you can put like an attic up there if you want. Then you can move your ceilings up, but that's going to be that's a lot of work, because think about it. You have to move.
That's what I'm saying. Things like that where I would rather not spend the money to do that work,
Right.
but find a house that already has that.
So to me, when I say good bones on a house, it doesn't mean things are not falling apart. What I mean by it is like, okay, this is a prime example for this house. Again, when we walked in downstairs, we have living room and family room downstairs that have 20-foot tall ceilings, windows going all the way up. That is like usually found in only newer-ish construction homes. Right. So to me, it's like these are good bones. Like we can make this and make it look modern. You walk into a house like a hipster North End home, and it's 100 years old.
It's like 7-foot ceilings.
7-foot ceilings. You can't make that look like a modern day house. No matter, even if you spend $200,000 to spruce things up, it's always gonna look more older than it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like just the layout, the field, ceilings, and all the windows. Like it always will. The size of it. So it. Look for good.
And that was another one for me. Is like I want because we've already experienced like the tall ceilings and lots of natural light. That's a big one for me. Again, is having a ton of windows and a ton of natural light.
So we have to be in a community. We have to be in a community subdivision, not too close, not too far, with 3 acres of land, but still feel separated from other people. Have obviously the 3 acres of land. Have tall ceilings, large windows, no rooms in the basement.
No stairs right in the entry.
Oh goodness gracious!
You better write this down, Mr.
We're taking this house off the market. This is what we're gonna do.
And I guess these aren't even deal breakers. These are like the dream scenario. So I know that like I said, I'll have to compromise, and there's certain things that we're just gonna have to, like, if we want the house, it's fine.
I'm kind of curious, and we'll see this, because I don't know if you can answer this question now, but I'm kind of curious to see, like, when you say compromise, I don't know what that means to you, because usually there's a trade-off in compromise, right? Where you're like, oh my gosh, it has a huge open kitchen, or you mentioned a huge laundry room. I'm curious what the compromise is.
And I can't tell you that right now, because we don't really have any houses that we're looking at in mind. But like one thing, I mean, I guess even the rooms in the basement, like if that's something, if it's a house that we feel like we can, I mean, maybe the land is just amazing and the grass is like really well kept, because that's another thing, is like we want the 2 acres, but I want the majority of it to be like nice and not like weeds growing and just
pasture.
Yes, like.
Are you going to ask me to move the basement to the upstairs?
Yes, I will.
Hey, babe,
hon, real quick.
Can you move like this concrete basement, but upstairs though?
Like
just upstairs, really quick.
I just feel like the rooms need to be up here.
Yeah.
So, do you think you can do that? It could be on your video. Well, like a prime example of like a weird space that I feel like we probably couldn't have done anything about is we looked at a house. Outside it was super cute. I feel like we could have done a lot with all the rooms. Like there was just that, like you said, the good bones. But one thing I felt like I noticed is there was no entry. You walk in and it's like the kitchen and the dining room immediately.
Now that's allegedly based off of certain pictures. There's no way, because some of these pictures, and everybody needs to know, like real estate photography is,
so I gotta go look at it.
It's bogus, because they'll make rooms that look like they're 1,000 square feet, but really they're tiny, they're quadrupled.
I mean, I can't speak to like if that was it, but if that was the case, like there's nothing really we could do at that point. You can't make an entry where there's like a kitchen, right? Things like that. But we just have to, I guess, actually
fight over it. We just have to fight.
We'll just fight.
Physically. Fight. Well, I know jiu-jitsu, so you need to bring a gun.
Well, I can pinch and bite.
You are strong. Can we say that?
We can.
There have been times where you've been playfully trying to just tickle me, And there's nothing more emasculating than a guy getting tickled, giggling, and he's like, I can't even activate my muscles right now. Like,
you can't even
like
do
I will say
anything.
this right now: if a guy came at me like in a bar fight, or like got on bath salts and charged at me, cool. Like there's gonna be a lot of blood coming, and it's not gonna be from me. But if a guy came at me and started tickling me, and he's persistent and knowing exactly where to tickle me,
That's the problem. I know your tickle spot.
I bet you I'll just like roll over and just start crying, just because like.
First you laugh and then you cry.
Well, right, because like he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, like you get the point.
So that's how you get the old.
That's how you conquer the Mazzucan household.
Yeah, you tickle them.
That's good, Mrs. M. This has been a good one.
I feel like we have so much more to cover. We need to do a part 2.
We do need to do a part 2 because I don't know if I shared too much about my perspective on it. I will say this: did it give me more hope? No, it did not.
Much less.
It actually shocked me about how much.
Sucks to be decisive, huh?
It does suck to be decisive, but no, it's. I thought after this whole YouTube, travel where you're like, okay, so he's got some skill. He can do some stuff.
I believe you have the skill.
Sure,
it's the weird things like that.
Well, it's weird things like bringing the downstairs into the upstairs and the ceiling's higher. Sure. And making sure that we live only next to, people whose names have no vowels in it. Can we do that? Like,
they have to start with the letter H, otherwise I feel weird and we can't do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I totally get it. This is all validated. Yeah. So somebody's gonna cry during this next season that we're gonna be buying a house.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be you this time.
Yeah, no, it will be me. I'll go on the record. Fortunately, we're still 6 months away from it. So
yeah, we got a long time to hash this out.
Yeah,
not a long time, but a little bit of time.
A lot of tears. All right, folks. Thanks for sticking around. This has been a fun one. Make sure if you guys enjoy this podcast, subscribe, like it, share it with your friends. Tell them that these two knuckleheads are worth listening to. We appreciate your time.
Yes.
Watch us on YouTube too if you guys like to watch a podcast like that. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.